welcome to this week's episode of Let's Talk About Fantastic Beasts. This is episode 8, and today we are going to be talking about giants. Now, usually I use my copy of Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, but giants aren't actually in the book, and the reason for this is they are classed as beings because they are humanoid. Although I wouldn't class them as a beast, which is what this series is about, I thought I would include them anyway, because it would just be nice to talk about them and the likelihood of seeing them in the new Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them film. A giant is a very large humanoid which can potentially grow to approximately 25 feet tall and appear to be a large human. Some may appear as large and hairy humanoids, while others resemble humongous-sized people, and some may even have bestial features, i.e. protruding sharp molars. So they have bestial features sometimes, which is another reason why they're included here. A powerful and nearly unstoppable race, giants generally aggregate themselves in tribes since their numbers have greatly dwindled in recent centuries. A giant tribe is led by the strongest giant, who is known as the Gurg. Giants are not as intelligent as wizards and witches, but definitely more so than trolls. Now that's interesting because the next episode of Let's Talk About Fantastic Beasts, episode 9, will be on trolls. They have their own language, culture, and societal structure. They are capable of learning English, and presumably other languages as well, and read. When breeding, they pride themselves in producing large newborns, and disappointment would arise if the child is smaller than expected. Unfortunately, most giants don't have the patience for long discussions, and seem to prefer simplifying matters by killing their audience if the topic they brought proved too complicated. Even being a Gurg does not guarantee the complete dominance of the tribe, as others may end up killing them for their position, such as Golgamath did to Carcass, proving a hierarchy based on not diplomacy but raw strength. They are difficult to detain by wizards, since most spells tend to have little to no effect upon them, and they may very well be even stronger than dragons. Now, there's a lot of history, and I don't want to read you the entire thing because this video would be far too long, so I'm just going to summarise. During the First Wizarding War, which was between Voldemort and the original Order of the Phoenix, giants were once plentiful across the world with at least 100 different tribes. They allied with Lord Voldemort and were responsible for some of the war's worst atrocities against the Muggle community. Aurors targeted and killed many giants and forced them into hiding into remote regions of the world. In 1995, following the return of Lord Voldemort, Albus Dumbledore dispatched the Hogwarts gamekeeper Rubeus Hagrid, accompanied by the headmistress of Beauxbatons, Olympe Maxime, to make an alliance with the giants and deny their forces to Lord Voldemort. I won't tell you the whole plot in case you haven't actually read Order of the Phoenix, but Hagrid and Olympe Maxime go to try and haggle and align themselves with the giants. They give them gifts each day, and things happen, which I'm not going to tell you just in case, but things happened there. And this whole plot, this whole subplot was actually left out of the films entirely, which is such a shame really, because when the Deathly Hallows comes around, giants are fighting with Lord Voldemort, and they just seem to appear out of nowhere with the exception of Gorp, Hagrid's brother. Giants just seem to appear out of nowhere into the giant battle, which is a little bit of a shame when you've read the books because you know how some of it sort of happened. So here we have known giants in the Harry Potter universe. Bran the Bloodthirsty, Cyclops, Fridwulfer, which I believe is Hagrid's mother, Golgamath, Goliath, Gwarp's father, Gwarp, Hengist of Upper Barton, Carcass, Carcass's wife, Morholt, Morholt's brother, Olympe Maxime, who is a half-giant, Rubeus Hagrid, who is also a half-giant, and then unidentified giants in the Battle of Hogwarts. According to Wombat, giants may be cannibals, or giants may have very poor eyesight when compared with humans. Support for the latter is provided by the fact that Gwarp needed to move his head close to see Harry and Hermione, and later to see the centaurs while in the Forbidden Forest. Given the considerable size discrepancy between giants and humans, it is unknown how they are able to mate with the latter. Let's not even go there. I think part of the reason we didn't see many giants in Harry Potter is because CGI effects cost a lot of money. I assume it must have cost a lot of money just to make Gwarp. And then obviously you had a couple of giants. I think there were only maybe 2 or 3 that were properly seen during the Battle of Hogwarts. So they would have also cost a lot. To do the Order of the Phoenix scene with Hagrid and Olympe Maxime and all the giants, to do that scene, or a couple of scenes, would have probably cost a lot of money. Let's talk about Game of Thrones for a second. As we know, Game of Thrones chooses whether to show the giants or the direwolves, because the giants and the direwolves both cost a lot of money to create with CGI. So, will we see a giant in Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them? Again, it's all about money and budgeting, I think. Depending on how much CGI is in Fantastic Beasts, and I'm going to guess there will be a lot, I personally don't think they're going to go towards giants. They do have a trilogy to fill out, because there will be at least 3 Fantastic Beasts films. I personally don't think... I will be very surprised if there is a giant. I mean, it would be good because the only giant we really get to communicate with, in a way, is Hagrid, who's a half giant. It would be nice to have a giant in Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them so we can find out more. So, as we know, giants were not created for Harry Potter. Giants have been around for a long, long time, or the idea of giants. Now, usually I would Google and tell you what's about giants, sorry. I'm not going to do that today because there is so much mythology on giants, there's so much history, so we're not going to do the history today. The last thing we need to talk about is merchandising. Is there a lot of merchandise in terms of giants? Not really, not as far as I can tell. There's a lot of Hagrid things in particular. There is a Gwarp action figure. They have brought out a few Gwarp bits, and I'm sure they've brought out a few Madame Maxime bits. But in terms of giants as a whole in Harry Potter, I don't think there's that much merchandise, actually. So I don't think that's going to change either, because I don't think we're going to see them in Fantastic Beasts. So anyway, that's my episode of Let's Talk About Fantastic Beasts. There's Dad. Next week's episode will be on trolls, so please stay tuned for that. So thank you very much for watching. Cameo from Dad there. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next week with another episode of Let's Talk About Fantastic Beasts. Bye-bye.